All right, and they're off. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience today as we got everything sorted and started. So, for all the new people here and for all those returning, this is the Rock Me to the Top Round 2 tournament. If you were here last time, it is a best of 3 race between these two runners here. I'm just going to fix up the display. We don't have a winner of any races yet. So the rule set here is a little different this time around. If you weren't here last time, this is a best of 3 race to the top of the tower. They only get 1 shot per run with an hour time limit to get all the way up to 440 or as high as they can. They cannot leave the tower. And what makes this one a little different and a little more exciting is that unlike last time, they are going to be facing the exact same tower setup. Thanks to the wonderful programmer who created a de-randomizer for us to allow us to see the tower and let our players face the exact same challenges. So anybody returning will notice that we are skipping the tutorial here to get things going a little faster. And they're going to get the same 5 items that we always expect. So if you're new, there's going to be an egg, a weapon, a shield, a medicinal herb, and then a fireball with 5 charges to help them get started. In this tournament, climbing as high as possible is the key, so these starting items will help our runners get going a little bit quicker and get them prepared. So if this is your first time watching one of these and you don't know anything about this game, Azure Dreams is a wonderful little game. It is a mix of a roguelite, a dungeon crawler, a dating sim, and a town builder. This wonderful little mix of various genres that comes together in such a beautiful way. We just saw Kaine walk past the elevator, so you might be asking, hey, why is he passing by this elevator? Well, the answer is that they're going to use the first 5 floors here, maybe a little more if they're feeling lucky, to try and build up a little bit of an item base. Oh, Kaine immediately going up on floor 2 very, very quickly, a lot faster than you'd expect. So the ideal items that they're looking for at the start here is a better shield and a better weapon. They're generally looking for a wand. We see them both pick up a paralyzed wand to get them started, one of the better wands, but it is cursed, so they're going to have to struggle with that a little bit. But we see Lady Deme here still hanging out on the 2nd floor, which is what I would have expected both of our runners to do, but looks like Kaine trying to jump ahead here, get a little bit of an advantage. Already struggling a little bit, having to use his fireball, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a big deal. As soon as you gain your first level, things are quite a bit easier. Sorry, just checking something here. Things are quite a bit easier for you. In your first level, when you level up to 2, you actually gain more HP than any other time in the game. Gives you a nice little bit of a buffer here to keep you alive in this very, very difficult slog. So the tower is not randomly generated this time around, but it is still a little bit random. They don't know what they're going to face coming up the tower. They generally know roughly what set of floors everything is going to have. So in the early floors here, they know that there's going to be some weak monsters, a little bit of loot to grab, and the like. And as they go higher and higher, they know roughly what kind of genus and monsters they're going to run into. But beyond that, everything else, they have no idea. So they don't know what kind of items they're going to find, if anything at all. And they don't know where all the traps are going to be. And that's one of the things that makes these runs so exciting. We never know if our runners are going to make it all the way to the top or if they're going to get totally crushed even as early as floor 2 or 3. Things can be really, really wild. There's all sorts of crazy traps that can just wipe you out in ways that you're not prepared for. We did see that Lady Deme has not equipped the live shield, which KaineTheBrain has, so he has a little bit of a defensive advantage, but both of them still running with the same weapon. Unfortunately, as it is cursed, they're going to need to find a decurse scroll if they want to switch up, but there isn't many weapons in the game that they're likely to find that are going to be much better. Ideally, in these runs, our runners are looking for the Scarlet Wand, so the main attack that our people are going to be using here is the Mixture Magic, So Mixture Magic combines your power and your familiar's power to do one singular strong attack. It costs very little MP, which is one of the resources that they have to manage as they try and climb the tower. And it is actually boosted by wands more than anything. So on top of that, if you have a wand of your genus, it actually does even 25% more damage. So when you have a Scarlet Wand, which is the Fire Wand, as our familiar is a fire familiar at the start, it gives you enough damage that you can pretty much brute force your way through like half the tower roughly, and even on the later floors with smart play, it can help you out. So that's ideally what they're going to look for, and then beyond that, they're looking for items that help them delete other monsters or protect themselves, as they're not going to be doing the main mechanic of the game, which, like many of these monster games, you're looking to find and raise monsters. In this game, that works by finding eggs in the tower, which you take home and hatch into whatever pops out. You don't know ahead of time. And you would generally go back in the tower multiple times to work your way up. Someone in the chat saying, wait, you can pick up your monster? Yes, in this game, one of the interesting mechanics that they have is that you can pick up your familiar or other familiars. We just saw Lady Deme. Unfortunately, she had a warp trap that was hit by her monster. It warped him away, and he actually was killed trying to get back to her. So she's going to be playing without her monster now, which is a huge, huge hit early on in the game. As we talked about, you generally don't get other monsters. You do have the ability to hatch eggs in the tower, but it takes quite an enormous amount of time. Normally, this isn't something you'd want to do, because if you hatch a monster in the tower, you can't bring it home. But in a run like this, where you can only go up one time, you can actually use that as an option. She might be forced to do that. Unfortunately, the first egg that we get is the weakest familiar in the game. It will not help them any. But if she does find a different egg, we can see if she's going to try and hatch it. There are several eggs in the tower that can be extremely helpful. Some that will totally take you right to the top if you're playing well. So that's what she's going to be looking for. Or alternatively, if she can find a restore scroll to bring her familiar back, that would help as well. But it's definitely going to be an uphill climb for her, especially with Kaine already taking a little bit of an early lead. So Lady Deme is going to have to play very smart and very careful here as she tries to close that distance and recover from this little bit of bad luck here, or hope that Kaine runs into some similar bad luck or something hopefully worse for her. So Kaine is actually up on floor 7 now, getting into the tougher floors. We just passed by a U-boat. So a U-boat is one of the first really strong and dangerous monsters that you can run into. It is a water genus monster, so it has an advantage against yours, and it does a lot of damage. They have a mechanic where they can swim in the ground, which pretty much ensures that they're always going to get the first hit on you. So it is very tough to deal with if you don't have some good items and a good weapon to help you deal with it. Lady Deme moving up to floor 5 now. I haven't seen her inventory in a bit, but she's hopefully building up some good items as she climbs up. I don't think either of the runners have found anything super spectacular yet, but they have found at least a little bit of a base to try and work with here. Lady Deme giving a whack on this balloon, seeing that it does very, very little damage. So she's probably not going to want to keep fighting. She does go ahead and use the fireball. So magic in this game, it either is cast by familiars or you can cast it yourself using balls that you find along the way. Each of those balls will have a randomized set of charges, except for the very first one that you get, which only has 5 charges. So you have to use it very, very sparingly. Lady Deme hits a confused trap, just getting totally creamed by traps right now. She does manage to get away without dying, but she is not having any good luck in this first run. She really needs something to turn around here, or she's going to be in a very bad spot very quickly. She does have a couple of items there that can help her. We just saw a Holy Scroll used on Kaine's part. So the Holy Scroll will allow you to either charm a monster that you run across or use it to protect yourself for a number of turns. He chooses to use the protection version of it. as he was surrounded by a large amount of very strong monsters. Also goes ahead and throws a ton of fruit, which will turn a monster into a frog. And now he's going to go ahead and whack away at these monsters. As you can see, they're quite tanky early on when you don't have the type advantage. So it's quite difficult for him to deal with this. And another monster popping in. So it looks like a little bit of bad luck here for both people. They're both going to struggle here as they try and work their way through this. Kaine just eating through his items right now to try and deal with this really, really crazy high monster density as Lady Deme managed to slink away and get up to floor 6, closing the gap a little bit here. So it looks like Kaine should be able to clean this up. Thankfully, Holy Scrolls last for a very, very long time. Steel Shield, another Steel Shield picked up here for Lady Deme. She's sitting on all of the Steel Shields, goes ahead and throws on Live Shield. Live Shield is a special shield, one of 2 that have active effects. So the Live Shield, when it gets hit, has a small chance to return some of that damage to the enemy that hit you. The other special shield being the Mirror Shield, which, if you can find, will reflect magic. A little bit of mismovement here on Lady Deme's part, taking an extra hit that she didn't need, 2 extra hits. She actually might not even be able to take this. I think she's going to have to use a medicinal herb if she has it. I'm not sure that she has enough HP. Yeah, she's going to play it safe here. 2 unfortunate missed inputs there that put her in a position where she was definitely taking a free hit, but she goes ahead and uses that herb to bring her HP back up and continue moving on. Kaine also moving up to floor 8. Only a 1 floor difference between the 2 of them on this very, very, very difficult run. I have a feeling it's not going to be a very, very long run today. The tower seems to be very much out to get them. Chaos Trap here on Kaine's side in a U-boat room. This is actually really, really awful for him. He's going to go ahead and collar his familiar, it looks like, to try and figure a way out of this problem. But without something like a Holy Scroll, it is going to be very difficult for him. Oh, he actually returned his familiar to the town. I don't know if that was a mistake, a missed input, or if he's giving up here. But we're going to have to wait and see. Lady Deme moving on up to the 8th floor as well. He does survive the Chaos Trap, but he threw away his familiar. I really would like to hear what happened there that made him choose that. But he does move on up to the 9th floor. Lady Deme also hits the same Chaos Trap in the same room. She doesn't have anything protecting her. And she's going to go ahead and try and get out. She does recover from the confusion, but I think she has to move up, and she's going to take a hit here. She does, and that is it. Lady Deme is down on floor 8. So we have our first winner of the day. Very, very short run here for this first race. Really, really unfortunate. Kaine managed to survive that trap while throwing away his familiar, while Lady Deme unfortunately did not have what she needed to survive that trap. Really, really mean set of traps throughout those runs to make for a very, very short race, unfortunately. Hopefully we're going to get a little bit more of some longer runs as this goes on. So our racers are going to start resetting now and prepare for the next race. So bear with us while we get everything set up. So our racers are just taking a little bit of a moment to breathe and get themselves back in a position for round 2. So as we spoke about a little bit earlier, the tower is 100% in control of what is going to happen to our runners. Sometimes it's going to let them get all the way up, and sometimes you're going to see races like this where it is going to do everything in its power to try and kill them as quickly as possible. And sometimes there's only so much you can do. Both runners playing very well for what was being thrown at them. Neither of them got any very strong items to help deal with that ludicrous amount of traps. So we're going to have to go ahead and see if the tower is a little more lenient in the next round, or if we're going to have some very, very short races today. So it does take a little bit of extra time for us to set up here, since they have to reseed for race 2 to make sure they're on the same seed. If you guys are wondering what's happening, we are just getting that set. So it looks like both seeds should be good to go. We're going to start getting set up and prepare for the countdown to get into race 2. Vote in chat if you'd like to see this go all the way to 3 races, or if you want to see the tower quickly crush these people. So we should be getting started. The countdown is sent. I see a lot of regulars from the Discord in our chat today. Go ahead and throw the Discord link in chat so you guys can join the fun if you guys like. Our races are off, and they're going to head back into the tower for race 2. So get our starting familiar, see if either of them is going to throw some naming down. We got the doomed name from Deme after that really rough run. I think she's feeling a little defeated, but we got to see if she's going to run it back. We got a lot of support for her in the channel right now, so hopefully we'll get her a victory this run and we can see a game 3. And hopefully we'll get a little higher in the tower so you guys can see some of the more fun and exciting things. Though it is always fun to see such a brutal tower so you guys can get an idea for how running this game can treat you. What would we see in the chat? What would the ultimate high roll look like for this randomizer? We have actually seen that in previous races. There are 2 items in this game that you can get that are pretty much the biggest possible high roll that there is, and those 2 items are the Trained Wand and the Roche Fruit. So the Trained Wand is the best weapon in the game. It is a wand that you can actually upgrade. So in the game, there's items called sands. So there's red, white, and blue, and you can use those to upgrade various items depending on the color of the sand. Generally, you cannot upgrade any wand in the game. They are just always set to 1 attack power, and their big thing is that they give various magical effects. But the train wand is a little different. It is the only wand in the game that you can actually power up, and that makes it the best and highest damage dealing weapon in the game. But it is almost impossible to find. And then the roche fruit is even better than that. It is a fruit that lets you turn any monster that you run across into an egg immediately. So there are several monsters in this game that will basically guarantee you that you can reach floor 40. The 2 biggest ones being Arachne, which you find up around just before floor 20, which has double attack power. So you can either hatch it or immediately fuse it into your familiar to make your damage shoot up. And then there's the Clown, which also has a similar thing, except it doubles your magic stat. Again, you can either hatch or turn it into your fuse it with your familiar if you choose. And both of those will make you strong enough that you can pretty much brute force your way all the way through the top of the tower. Finally, the best possible monster that you can egg, as long as it's not banned, because some of our runners do choose not to play with it, is the Garuda. So the Garuda has an ability called Abduct, which normally is not conventionally useful because what it was originally intended for is to yank another monster and take it to a different place so they can fight one-on-one. But what you can do is you can actually use Abduct on yourself, essentially giving you a free warp over and over again, allowing you to very quickly move around on a floor completely safely until you find the elevator. And it costs such a little amount of MP that you can essentially do that over and over and over again until you get to floor 40. So the ultimate high roll in this game essentially would be to hit a roche fruit, get up to a Garuda floor, egg a Garuda, hatch it, and then use that basically to run you all the way to 40. And we have seen that happen. It does happen. So if your opponent gets it and you don't, you're pretty much screwed for the most part. Especially in the previous tournament where the game was fully random for both sides. You could have one runner get that while the other gets a run like our previous one where they're just hitting traps over and over again. And it could be a little lopsided, which is why we de-randomize it now to try and make it a little bit more fair for both sides. Seeing some interesting item pickups here. A warp trap on Lady Deme's part again. She is thankfully still early on, so her familiar should be strong enough that it should be able to beat whatever it comes across. But it looks like it might be fighting more than one thing. And it is. So it looks like she already on floor 2 loses her familiar to a bad warp trap, echoing the first game. Extremely, extremely bad luck for Lady Deme this run. As Kaine moves on to floor 4, again taking a little bit of an early lead. She's early enough in that hopefully she can find a restore scroll fairly quickly or some kind of something to help deal with this. But it's going to be really, really tough for her to come back from this, losing it this early without the tower giving her something to work with. Someone says the best shield is the mirror shield because of the reflect magic, diamond shield, defense more. Generally, I agree, and I feel like most people in the community agree. But it just depends. Early on, it's better to have the diamond shield because all of the early game monsters will basically do 0 damage to you. But in the grand scheme of things, the mirror shield is much better once you get past, let's say floor 8, and you start dealing with monsters that actually do very, very high damage. And yeah, a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy here with Lady Deme naming herself Doomed before losing her familiar very early. There is a scroll over there. We have to wait and see what it is. She could get very lucky here and pick up a restore scroll. Sadly, just a malicious scroll, but she still has some items, and it's still a useful item. You can throw the malicious scroll at an enemy to confuse it, and then that'll make defeating it or getting away from it very easy. Lady Deme going to scoot around this cyclone here. Oh, she might choose to fight it. Looks like she's going to choose to fight, and then she can just grab that elevator and head on up to the floor that Kaine is on right now. So a little bit of a answer here for people who may be wondering if both runners happen to die on the same floor, which was something that came very close to happening in the it is the first runner who hit that floor that will take the victory. So speed does matter. This is still a speed gaming event, so we do have a reward for going fast. But when your familiar is gone, sometimes it can be very difficult to play this very quickly. Though we have seen runners who lost their familiar early on and played a lot quicker, essentially just rushing the elevator over and over again, and ended up winning the race from that. So you can never fully count somebody out. There's also still the chance that she picks up a good egg or a restore scroll, and she can get herself right back into this. Kaine moved on up to floor 5, still moving fairly quickly. No big items for either side. Chaos Trap here for Kaine, but no monsters around, so he should be okay. But no wands yet, so they're still looking for weapons, haven't upgraded their shield, so we should see both of them still looking for some items. We're seeing Lady Deme attack walk to prevent herself from getting killed by another trap, clearly feeling the pain of being hit by so many bad traps. She picks up a water ball, which unfortunately isn't useful without a familiar, and is also a little bit of a niche ball, but she can still use it to throw, so you can still kind of manipulate the AI a little bit by throwing things at it from far away. We see a wooden wand here picked up for Kaine, so the weakest wand in the game is still a good wand to have. Uses a malicious scroll by accident. A little bit of a misclick there on Kaine's part. He actually confuses himself and then confuses his familiar. So he's going to be struggling a little bit here as he deals with that. Goes ahead and bags the familiar as there is a monster coming. He doesn't want to lose his familiar, and he's banking on himself clearing that confusion before he gets himself killed. He does still have the medicinal herb, which he can use to keep himself safe. While Lady Deme, pinched here by 2 cyclones, she's going to have to use a bunch of her items here to get herself out of it. We see Kaine throw his egg to egg bomb the monster that was attacking him. He does get lucky. The Palumpa just takes it out, so he should be okay. He does get stopped here by Cyclone, who says, no, I don't want you to go up this elevator, but he's going to use a fireball, clear that out, and he should be moving on up. Lady Deme uses the medicinal herb and the Mayhel seed to get herself out of that sticky situation, still moving strong and using her resources to keep her safe. It looks like she has more or less cleared this floor, so she's going to try and head towards that elevator, and hopefully she will find something good along the way. Kaine again, finding the elevator in the same room and just taking it on up, trying to build his early lead as it seems he does. Spawns in a bit of a bad spot here, but he's going to go ahead, pick up that sleeping U-boat, and throw it as hard as he can. He can now bring his familiar back if he likes. I believe it should still be confused, so he's going to have to clean it out, but now that he is not confused, it's okay. That was actually very dangerous. So his familiar got a free attack with that confusion, and very, very much could have hit him there and ended his run in a really unfortunate fashion. But woo! Still misses, thankfully, and he keeps on moving. Lady Deme spawning into floor 5 here, immediately into a room with 2 Mana Weavers, but she just runs on off and they leave her be. And she's going to keep on moving, backtracking to follow them to try and make sure that they can't come around and pinch her. U-boat attacks Kaine here. He's going to have to go ahead and use that medicinal herb for safety, as he was getting very, very low, and he didn't want to take that free hit because it probably would have killed him. Goes ahead and uses a fireball to try and make this a little quicker as he decides to fight this. It is going to take a full 3 hits for it to die because they do have quite a bit of HP. Lady Deme going to pick up these items and then probably move right on up here, closing the distance just a little bit. Skips the wand as she does not have... Oh, no, she does go back for it. It looks like she kind of hurt herself a bit here by meandering. She is going to get pinched by monsters again. Probably going to have to continue using that fireball. She does have a couple of magic orbs that she can keep using, so she should be safe for now, but she's going to have to circle around back to that elevator because there was a big monster train coming. Kaine moving on up to the 8th floor now. getting into some of the more difficult floors, already getting a little bit higher. Another elevator train, so we're just hitting elevator after elevator here. We're going to see them climb up very quickly, which is good and bad, because it means that they're moving up quicker than their level. So they're going to start fighting stronger and stronger monsters. We see Kaine move up onto high ground here to get an advantage over this clown. Pinched again for Lady Deme. She's just having no luck here with these monsters. But yeah, as they get higher and higher, there are a couple monsters that they can kind of prey on for easy experience. But the faster you go up, the less defense and HP you have against these monsters. So you have to be a little bit more wary of what you're fighting and how many of them you're fighting. We see Malicious Scroll used for Lady Deme to confuse the Mana Weave behind her. She tries to pick up the balloon, but it is too heavy. She is going to have to use that Fire Orb and then keep moving. Hopefully that Mana Weevil will also block the balloon behind her, but she does have the advantage of that Confuse Ray is still going to stay there. It just passes through. Looks like it ended as it was getting there, unfortunately. But yeah, it would have confused it if it had lasted long enough, but it looks like it timed out just ahead of it. Using a Fire Orb on this Mana Weaver that she's run into. It does clone itself, but won't be a problem. She's still going to have a tough time here because there are just so many monsters around her. This is going to get very tough for her very, very quickly. Thankfully, the weak clone is going to block off that balloon. She is getting a little bit low, though, and she did use her medicinal herb, so it's going to get a little bit tough. If she gets pinched again, it actually could be the end of this run. Kaine, having moved up onto the 10th floor, preying on some Dreamins for some easy experience. A fairly weak monster that the only danger it has... Oh, this might be it for Lady Deme. Stuck between two balloons and a Mana Weeva, and she doesn't really have good items to hit more than one monster. She is probably going to drop here. And that looks like it is going to be it for Lady Deme. Down on floor 5. So, an unfortunate turn of events for Lady Deme here. Familiar to a warp trap in both the first and second race. And the second on floor 2 of all things. It just goes to show you, as soon as you're out of that tutorial floor, there is no safety for you in any capacity. So let's see if we can get the runners in here for a post-game interview. Because I'm sure Lady Deme is going to have some words for the tower. So I'm just working on getting them in here. We see Kaine still moving forward a little bit in the tower, giving you guys a little something to watch as we prepare. Very quick set of races today. This is not how these normally go for about an hour to an hour and a half each, but sadly it looks like the tower was not having that today. I believe Lady Deme is going to be joining us very, very shortly. Let's see if we can get Kaine in here too.
Good afternoon. Hello. Oh, is my headphones not on? They're not on. That would probably help me with this whole situation.
Yeah, it might be useful.
All right, hello.
Hello. So that was some runs.
Is that what that was?
Those warp traps, though.
Yeah, those warp traps. Sometimes you're the windshield, and sometimes you're the bug.
Yep.
And that was one of those times.
And it was so close, too, because the trap that killed you in that first race actually came very, very close to killing Kaine as well. He just barely scraped out of it. So that was a nasty set of seeds.
Yeah. Well, I think there were things I could have done better in the first one, but you know what? The second one, I think really not a lot.
Yeah, losing you had that warp trap on floor 2, and I thought for sure, oh, she's going to be okay because it's floor 2. You know, your starting familiar can beat up just about everything there, but he must have got caught between like 2 or 3 monsters, which is just some insanely bad luck.
Yep.
But yeah, I think this might have been the shortest set of races I think I've ever seen. Just really, really luck on both sides, but you really got it bad this time.
Yeah. You know, Kaine is a very good runner, in my opinion, and so I did not come into this expecting to win. In fact, I think my grand plan for this whole tournament is that I am kind of in a busy place, but also wanted to help the community, so I figured I'd come in, I'd lose 2 runs, and then I'd commentate for the rest of it and have a great time.
Yeah, I think...
I sort of expected to do maybe a little better.
I don't think anybody expects to have them go quite that poorly, but that is the tower, and that's how it goes sometimes.
Yep.
Oh, give me a quick second. It looks like he doesn't have a link.
Well, I actually probably need to be heading out, and I have dinner waiting for me.
Sure.
I mean, it could wait indefinitely, but you know.
Yeah. Well,
I am freed up quickly, so I might as well get the benefits of that.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for doing this race and joining us for this post game. Hopefully, the next one you're in is a little bit lucky and less unforgiving.
I would like that very much. All right. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for commentating.
Take care. Hello.
Goodbye.
Sorry for the maybe ridiculous echo just now.
No worries. So that was quite a set of races. Some really insanely bad trap luck on both sides. The chaos trap that you hit in that first race with the U-boat room is actually what killed her. And I was telling her that, yeah, you just barely made it, and unfortunately she did not.
Oh, yeah. And then I chaos trapped myself the second game like a dummy.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I did it on purpose or something, but I went to do like put in bag and guess I did use instead. Oh, here's another chaos trap.
Yeah, it was a really, really wild trap seed on both sides. And she actually hit a warp trap on floor 2 in this run and lost her familiar like immediately. So she was playing on the back foot pretty much the entire time.
Wow. Yeah, these seeds were pretty brutal.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if Sand Knight conspired to give everybody else some bad luck, because man, these were some brutal seeds. I did not envy you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like most of these interviews and games usually talk about, but it was a tough race on both of you, and I did not expect it to end quite this quickly.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, I thought I was gonna die on like floor 7. I think like in both runs. Definitely the first run. I thought I'm dead for sure.
Yeah, it was. Especially when you tossed your familiar, I was pretty much convinced that you were just throwing in the towel. I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's gonna die here. Lady Deme is gonna come up and hopefully not die, or will die. Like, we're gonna have to see how this goes. And then you managed to pull it off, and I was like, wow, okay, well, here we go. This is gonna be an interesting race now, because you pitched your familiar and she had lost hers to a warp trap. So if she had survived it, it would have been kind of exciting as you both tried to struggle through it, but unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Yeah, I was trying to do a glitch. I think it's like you like release your familiar and you wind up with like a thing on your head, like a holy scroll, but it didn't work.
Oh no. Oh well, that would have been pretty neat, but it all worked out in the end. Yeah, I think everybody had fun watching that, and we can always point to these matches now and be like, hey, look, the tower will get you earlier than you expect.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll go ahead and wrap things up for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this very short and very exciting run. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did, or maybe they didn't have fun, but we hope you had fun. I dropped a link earlier in the Discord, or sorry, in the chat for the Discord, if you guys would like to join us and jump into these races, or if you watched it, saw a new game that you think looks interesting and want to give it a shot. Everybody's very friendly, very welcome to have you guys. And we will join you again, hopefully shortly, for more races.
All right. Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Take care.